talking about a topic and a subject that is so near and dear to my heart. And I really want to share some stories and some advices on different ways of protecting your family and why the right insurance matters. When we talk about families avoiding the conversation of insurance, yet it's one of the most financial decisions and discussions that we can have with anybody at this time. The reason that so many families avoid that conversation, and when I talk to families and why they avoid that conversation, is a couple of reasons. One is the sheer fear of having that conversation, because then it hits reality that, yes, something could happen and go sideways. The other is they just don't know how to start up those conversations. Like they don't know how to position it. They don't understand the importance of it. And the third is, oh, that'll never happen to me. It always happens to someone else. But I'll tell you that protection for you, the people that you love, is one of the most important gifts that you can give the people that you love should anything happen. So when someone becomes seriously ill or they pass away, the last thing a family should be worried about is how they're going to cover those final expenses. How are they going to replace lost income? Or how are you going to keep your household running? There's more and more families today that are turning to GoFundMe's and during the most difficult moments just to cover basic expenses. And that's what they're looking for with the GoFundMe. So now we're trying to deal with a tragic loss, or we're trying to deal with a critical illness that has come up, and you're grieving over that. You're trying to work out how are you going to make ends meet because maybe some income's going to be gone, or somebody who's home looking after the family needs to now go out and get a job. And all of this starts to play really heavy on individuals, and the GoFundMe's come in place to try and help some of that. Well, that's a afterthought past of what are we going to do? It does not save us that peace of mind of knowing that we have the time to grieve, we have the time to move forward and set ourselves up for success. There's no stability in all of that, and there's no stability in the GoFundMe because when it's gone, it's gone. So insurance isn't about fear. It's about preparation. It's about stability, and it's about protecting the people we love after you've lost someone. And if it happens to be someone who is out working full time and you are home looking after your children or the household, whether you're working part time or maybe not working at all, now you've got to replace that individual's income. And 1 or 2 years, that doesn't cover it. So we always look 10 to 20 years of what an income is to ensure we've got adequate enough insurance coverage. Now that is a standard area that we just kind of look at for quoting it out. It's an industry standard. And it's not a hard and fast rule. We have to look individually at each person because some people do not need that 10 or 20% of their income, but you definitely need more than 1 or 2 years of income to cover that. So again, it's strategically planned. It's tailored specifically for each individual that we're working with to make sure it covers what is important and needed for that individual and their family. Another common situation is that people will purchase insurance earlier in life, but then they never review it. So when we purchase insurance earlier in life, maybe we're in our 20s, maybe we're in our 30s, we may not have a family at that point, we may not have a home at that point, and we are planning our insurance, as I said earlier, it's tailored to what your situation is currently. And if you just buy that tailored cookie cutter plan that meets your needs at 20 years old, and you go through life and you never ever review that with anybody, you now picked up potentially a mortgage. You've got other debt payments. You've got married. You've got a spouse. You potentially have children. Maybe you've got a business going on. It needs to be increased. Your insurance needs to be reviewed, and it should be reviewed on an annual basis. May not need some changes at that point, but it gives some trajectory of where your life is going to make sure that you are covered and protected. the way that your life is growing. And I'm going to pull it back again to something that you hear me in almost every one of my podcasts because it's so important to me, is the simple philosophy of guiding a financial protection plan. You need to sit down and you need to make that decision that you do want to have a protection plan that is protecting your family, that is the right insurance for you and your family. You also want to form a plan. Once you've made that decision that you're going to go out and do this, you need to sit down and form a plan. And the best person to form that plan with is a licensed advisor, someone who's on your path, somebody who understands all the ins and outs of the regulatory pieces and is ensuring and guiding that you are being taken care of the way that you and your family need taken care of. It may take some changes. It may take some changes that are in your current lifestyle in order to fit these important decisions in. And in doing that, you want to make sure you're embracing that change. Don't fight it, because if you embrace it, it's going to come to flourish much quicker than if you're putting stumbling blocks every step of the way that you go. Because something is going to happen and you're not going to have everything put in place. I don't want to scare you. I just have seen it so many times with families and it breaks my heart. And that's where we lead to GoFundMe's. That's where we have to start leveraging on family members to help us get through this. And instead of being able to leverage on them for financial support, you can now leverage on them for the support of grieving and looking after the family in different ways. And it is something that just is so, so important in all of our lives. And then you want to execute it. So sit down and execute it. Execute it with a professional, somebody who can guide you, somebody who can build that plan, and somebody who is going to stay on your path. If you have insurance out there and you haven't looked at it for years gone by, please, I encourage you, go and pull that insurance out. Have a look at it. I give complimentary reviews. I will go through that with you and let you know if you're in a good spot or not in a good spot. Reach out to me. I'm happy to do that for you. It would make my heart very full to be able to sit and look and make sure you are covered and protected than to get a phone call from someone down the road saying, well, I thought they were and they weren't. So now we need to look at moving forward with the rest of the family. So financial confidence, it's not just again about numbers. It's about knowing your family situation. It's about knowing what your family needs for protection. It's about putting it all in play as one holistic process and thought and strategically planned and caring very, very much. So in my closing thoughts, if there's something that you've been meaning to review, as I said earlier, for your family, you're not alone, because there's a lot of people that are in this situation. And many people haven't even given it a thought or taken the time or guidance to work through any of this. As I mentioned earlier, too, there's a lot of people that have had insurance for years and just put it in place and never looked at it. So you want to make sure it's right for you. So let's take the time to review your protection plan. It can bring tremendous peace of mind, not only to yourself, but it can bring tremendous peace of mind to your family and your loved ones. Thank you for today. Thank you for being here. I really, really enjoy our time together. My community is so strong. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please reach out to me with any questions that you have. I'm more than happy to answer them for you. I'm more than happy to work with you. And I really, really appreciate your likes and subscribes. So if you haven't had the opportunity to do that, please do that now and have a wonderful, wonderful day.